Hello, Overemployed people. How are you all doing? I know it's been some time since I've last uploaded a video, so here I am. And a few of you guys have left some comments and some questions on a previous video, and I appreciate that a lot because it gives me a reason to upload new videos. So right now I'm going to answer a question that one of you guys have posted. So AlphaMat1000 says, amazing video friend, I'm a consultant with 2 clients through agencies. Looking to add number 3. I'm a remote senior software developer. Any tips going from 2 to 3? Would love to see a video on this topic. Thanks so much. Subscribe. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the subscription. Secondly, I have already answered this, but quite a shallow answer. So let me quickly try to explain right now what I think the best path would be from growing, like from 1 job to 2 jobs, from 2 jobs to 3 jobs. And when I mean jobs, I don't necessarily mean being employed, but you can be either employed or a contractor or a freelancer, doesn't really matter. I mean, of course, there are differences between them, but I'm not going to focus on those, just on how to get from 1 gig to the next gig and then 3 gigs at a time and so on. So the first and most important thing is setting expectations. If you are currently working a job and you have already set some expectations, and those expectations have been set such that people expect of you to deliver a large amount of work daily, then I have some bad news for you. You're not going to be able to comfortably take 2 or 3 jobs at the same time, thus becoming overemployed. So my first suggestion is to firstly think about if you can lower expectations at your current workplace. So how that looks like is trying to shift from quantity to quality. Talking to your managers, talking to your team about adding new processes, which in theory would take a lot of time, but you use those processes to, first of all, improve your quality of work, and then secondly, also have some time on the side to be able to pick up an extra job. If that doesn't work, and will most likely not work because people like it when you deliver a bunch of stuff daily, your next best option is to find a new job, which is paying a little bit better, but where you try to set the expectations from the beginning of the amount of work that you are going to deliver on a daily basis. And also, it goes without saying that the initial job that you need to have is a remote job. You cannot do this, you cannot become overemployed. I think you cannot become overemployed if you have a hybrid job or you're full-time at an office. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the amount of work that you deliver on a daily basis should not exceed 4 hours of work per day for 1 job, because then you have no buffer for the second job and no buffer in case there's any particular days in which you need to put in more than 4 hours of work. The next thing is to, over time, over the course of a few months, slowly reduce the amount of work, the amount of hours that you put in daily, but doing it in a smart way. Try and pick tasks which seem complicated but are easy for you, right? Try and focus on quality over quantity. What I mean by this is try to explain to people that this takes longer than expected because you really want to put in the quality. And this design pattern or this documentation needs to be done in order to improve the quality of the work, right? So that can buy you some extra time to play around with. And then you go from one job to two jobs. And when you start working two jobs, you should have some time to get acquainted with this type of work. And you should do that for at least a couple of months. And try to improve your work process such that you go from 4 hours on each job daily to less, like 3 hours or 2 hours on each job daily. This cannot happen with certain clients and certain jobs. Just because of the way that their product works or because of the way their team is set up, this might not work. So sometimes you need to change jobs a bunch, right? Have one job that you care for, one job that is like your main job, which you want to preserve, whatever. And then the second one, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, they'll fire you. And don't take it personally. Now, after you have two jobs, which you have been working on for at least like 3 months each, then you're ready to start looking for the third one. So only start looking for the third job when you have circumstances and you have created the circumstances in which you can handle it. Because just like waiting that third job, getting hired, and then getting fired in less than a month because you really don't have the time to join their meetings and put in the amount of work that is necessary for job number 3 makes no sense. Just like that extra one month payment or whatever until they fire you makes no sense for your mental health. Being overemployed can mean being stressed out and working 12 hours a day, but it can also mean being in a calm and relaxed place in which you work around 8 hours a day for all of your 3 jobs. But in order to attain this, you must find yourself in the right context. And finding the context is actually the most difficult part of all of this. So basically the key takeaway, Alpha Matt, that I wanted to relay to you is if right now you have 2 clients and it feels like you don't have enough time for the 2 of them, not even considering like a third potential client, then you might want to take into consideration switching one of your 2 clients. Like, keep the one that pays better, try and reduce expectations, try not spend crazy amounts of hours per day, and then find the third one and replace your second client with the third one and try and work on that one to set expectations such that you will find yourself in a place in which you reduce the amount of hours you spend daily on the 2 of them, and then you will be very comfortable adding a third one or a fourth one. I think that the majority of overemployed people will handle 2 clients just fine. 3 clients might be kind of difficult, and then 4 and above is just like for crazy good people who are able to sustain that kind of effort or have an incredibly lucky context, right? So yeah, keep in mind, context is key. Try and switch your clients, your jobs around such that you find the right 2 jobs which give you enough time to add number 3. So that is how I would go about it, and that is all that I have to say on this topic. I mean, there are a lot of things to say, right? But I don't want to go in some places that have nothing to do with your particular situation. I think that another important thing to set expectations is to kind of make yourself a little bit indispensable. So nobody's like without replacement, right? But if you, and I'm not encouraging you to do any shady things like, oh, I'm the only one who knows how that piece works or whatever. But I'm more so encouraging you to set initiatives which create processes in which you are in charge of, right? Because then if you are in charge of something, you, in the eyes of your coworkers, you add value. And make sure that every now and then you remind your colleagues and your superiors of how hard a particular feature was and how happy you are that you have done this great implementation of it, right? And if you're a manager, for example, make sure you let your team know, even your colleagues and also your superiors. Make sure everybody knows. Every once in a while, you don't want to seem like you're boasting, right? But every once in a while, remind people that, oh, I was thinking to do it like this, but actually I changed my mind and done it a different way, and that was much better because X reason, and I'm so happy I made that decision, and I wanted to share it with you in case you ever find yourselves in that position, right? And that way people create a mental image of you being indispensable, and if you have like days in which you are less productive, people will just people will notice them, but they won't confront you or anything like that. Mainly because you are quote unquote indispensable or own a particular process or a particular feature. And also it is very important to not abuse. So it's a very fine balance between being indispensable and not abusing being indispensable. So yeah, the combination of finding yourself in the right circumstances, setting the right expectations, and becoming a valuable team member and reminding people why you are valuable is like the winning combination, right? Okay, so thank you very much for your question, Alpha Matt. If you guys have any other questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And I promise I will try and come back with a video reply in 2 days tops, right? So that being said, all the best to you, overemployed people. Remember, don't make any rush decisions. Don't rush any decision. Try and be balanced. And outside of work, just try and enjoy life, because what else is there to do? There's work, and then there's life. So let's not forget that there's also a life to live, right? Alright, cool. Have a nice day, and yeah, let me know in the comments if you have any questions.